Ahoy! Welcome to the Geeky Dads podcast, episode 15. I'm Ian Duffy. With me, as always, is Mike Shelshire, Chris Moss, and Craig Edwards.
Yo!
Hello!
Hello!
Well, hey, we're back.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Good. How is everybody doing? What have everybody been watching, binging, or playing with?
Do you want to just randomly jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been playing Stranger of Paradise, which I've literally just started playing. New Final Fantasy, I have to jump in.
Mine came on Monday about.
It looks pretty good. It's quite complicated, though, isn't it? It's like
I've not started it yet. I've literally only just finished the game today, and I've still got bits to do on it, so I'll start that soon, though.
It's complicated. The battle system's way more different from any other Final Fantasy I've ever played before. But, yeah, and you get the controls. I'm in the middle playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the controls are like completely opposite. So that pissed me off. I was like, it's a bloody same company. Why not keep the controls similar? But I've relearned anyway. I'll jump back into Final Fantasy VII and start pressing all the wrong fucking buttons now.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
I've managed to finish listening to the audiobook version of Snuff, which was quite amusing because we were only talking about that on the on Messenger the other day. So yeah, there you go. So listen to Snuff. And then what was it we watched? Because I wanted to mention it because Dawn's done it again, where she suggested putting on a film. And I've gone, yeah, okay, and then I've sat there and watched the entirety of it and thought it was awesome, and it's completely gone on my head, and I'm trying to think what the hell it was, which is really bad because I swear it was really good. Oh, pants!
Can you tell us the story? You can guess.
No, because I'm completely blanking now.
Who's in it, at least?
You're going to have to give me a sec.
Okay.
I swear it was good, though.
It's good. Let's see. Well,
Craig, what have you been doing?
What was that?
I said,
what have you been doing?
Oh, well, I've been watching Bleach again because the new series starts in October this year. So I want to get that watched from the beginning when the new series starts. Because it stopped in like 2012.
I might have to do that myself.
Yeah, the manga finished, but they never finished the anime series because I think they had a lot of problems with filler episodes, so they got to a certain point and stopped. And a lot of fans have it's just brought it back now. It's coming back this year, the final arc of it.
Nice.
So looking forward to that in October. But I've literally just completed Dying Light 2 today after 65 hours on the campaign. It's a good game. I really enjoyed it. So I'm just doing all the niggly bits onto that, and then, as Mike said, I'll be on Final Fantasy then because mine come on Monday. Even though Ian doesn't believe me, which it did. The pre-order did come on Monday.
For the film, by the way.
Oh, you remember the film? Okay, what was it?
Yeah, it was King Richard.
Oh, was that the one with Will Smith that he's getting
with
like
Will Smith about Venus and Serena Williams and their dad Richard Williams?
Oh, I meant to watch that.
It's actually really good. He does it all the time. It's like, oh, let's watch this, and they're going, yeah, I'll probably fall asleep, whatever. And then I ended up just staying up like till after o'clock in the morning watching it because it is really, really good.
I watched the trailer for it and I thought it looked pretty damn good. Yeah, I'll give it a watch. I'm not into tennis.
It's a great story if you see, and it.
Yeah.
You get I think it could have gone the way of he's like this overbearing guy and what have you, and but the way he is, and he does push them and so on. But we all know how it turns out. They're literally like some of the greatest tennis players ever.
Yeah.
And for that, I don't think you can fault the guy. Not one bit, sort of thing. He set out to do something, for the benefit of his kids, and that's exactly what he did. So, yeah, can't fault it enough. It's a really, really good film. So
cool,
and a really good story. You know, it's really good that that's how it was, if you see what I mean. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I know it's got a lot of Oscar buzz about it, hasn't it? So
that's it. I don't really keep up with Oscar,
yeah,
but that doesn't surprise me at all.
He won the BAFTA a few weeks ago for Best Actor for it anyway. So
nice.
Indeed. Well, because I was like in Centre Parks, didn't really not played much. I did after the last episode talking about Willy Fogg. I ended up watching. I've got about halfway through the series now.
Nice.
Blame you, Christopher. And I've also been watching the documentary. It's 5 hours long, and it's In Search of Tomorrow. I don't know if anybody's heard of In Search of Darkness. I've done 2 of these about the history of 80s horror movies. So it's like a little snippet, like a lot of talking heads.
Yeah.
About all 80s horror films, and they did one In Search of the Last Action Hero, I think it's called, and it's on Amazon Prime. This one, and it's all 80s action films. So this one's called In Search of Tomorrow, and it's all about 80s sci-fi films. It's 5 hours long, so about 3 hours in, and it just talks about it's talked about Star Wars, Flash Gordon. It's named the sci-fi film from the 80s, and it talks about it. I think the only one that you haven't mentioned, and I may have missed it, was the Philadelphia Experiment, which I think is an amazing film.
That might be good background filler for while I'm doing stuff around the flat. Just shove it on.
It is. It's really
Prime,
good.
Yeah.
No, Last Action Hero is, but the Search the Last Action Hero is. But the others, I think you gotta buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Commas.
Yeah. Commas. Now, what I was going to say as well. So, can we also talk about the fact that we've had a brush with fame this week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, if anybody knows any of our UK listeners and our one listener in Australia, will know this. Neighbours is coming to an end. So I was, because Channel 5 pulled out, and most of their money to make the shows comes from Channel 5, even though it's a really popular show, and it's still got more viewers than, let's say, Hollyoaks. They're pulled out to concentrate on more, home. What's the word? Home based, UK based.
And away.
Oh yeah, they're still having home and away apparently. Yeah, Philistines. So they pulled out. Nobody's coming, so the show's going to be ending after nearly 40 years, because it was on when I was little. So I was listening to the Shag Married Annoyed podcast with Chris Ramsey and Rosie Ramsey, and I just listened last week. It was this week when I was walking up and down, taking Ezra to nursery and bringing them back every day. It's 45 minutes there and back. So I was listening to, catching up with the episodes, and this is from about January. I said, "Oh, Neighbours will last forever." Anyway, I got quite offended and tweeted them from our account, and he actually replied to us. So, hello, Chris Ramsey.
Hello.
Do you think he actually commented on it because his name's Ramsey?
Possibly. Oh, my God.
It was Ramsey Street, wasn't it?
Yeah. How meta? I didn't even think about that.
How meta?
Very smart. But yeah, also we've got our first 2. We're also now on Audible and Amazon Music, and we've had 2 reviews, haven't we, Christopher?
I wonder who wrote them.
Well, let's read these reviews out, because I think that they're amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna read the first review, and this is from a Chris M. And this is called Awesome Show. Wow, this podcast is incredible. Very funny, full of nostalgia and wit. These guys are great. Though the highlight is definitely Chris. Funny, knowledgeable, with great insight and personality. I, for one, cannot wait for his spin-off series.
What's it? Is this on Amazon?
This is on Audible, but it'll be on Amazon Music as well. And
can't wait to get this spin-off, Chris.
Yeah. and this is a review by Ian D, another 5-star review. This one's called Title.
I think that's a fake profile. No one calls himself Ian D.
Well, nobody calls themselves Chris M.
Sure.
And this one's titled Get Your Geek On. Everything you can expect from a bunch of geeks in their mid to late 30s, except for one silver fox who's apparently now 40. 80s and 90s nostalgia at its best, filled with poorly timed jokes and some borderline inappropriate humour. I'm sure Karen Ose out there will be offended by at least one thing on there, and she will assemble her Infinity Scarps to cancel them. But just like the Avengers in Endgame,
Silver Fox, even though we don't really put our profile pictures up or anything.
This is very true. I didn't think about this.
I wonder how they knew that.
Yeah, must be some insider knowledge, or stalkers, obviously. But just like the Avengers in Endgame, they will emerge from their portals and regale us with more tales of nerdy antics. Looking forward to the sequel show, The Geeky Dads 2: The Search for More Money.
Or any money.
Yeah.
If anyone thinks we get paid doing this, we do not.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
we will.
Yeah, we are open to the possibility.
If you want to give us money.
And if you want to advertise on the show, I mean, I'm sure we're more than happy to haul your products for you.
Yeah. We're totally willing to do an Only Farts advert.
Definitely. As you're aware, we did. Oh my god!
Oh. That's right. I went there.
Did you?
No.
So it was you commenting?
No.
Okay. So, as you know, last week we did put out a poll for what the subject for the next episode would be. Now, bizarrely, we had a three-way tie between Star Trek, favorite toys, and our dream TV and movie adaptations. Now, I took out Star Trek because it was my choice because it's probably a more specific choice. So we did the second vote for favorite toys and favorite, dream TV and movie adaptations of anything we like. So it was another draw again. So what we're doing is episode 16 is going to be favorite movie adaptations on TV, well, dream ones anyway. And this week we'll be talking about our favorite toys. Now we've each picked 3, and we're going to talk about them one at a time. So we'll go in the order from last week and start with you, Chris.
Right. Okay. So my first one, which I have mentioned before, is the building toy, the plastic building toy known as Construx, which was made by Fisher-Price, introduced in 1983. Now, obviously, the main difference between Construx and stuff like Lego, which was kind of like just bricks and so on and so forth, is that Construx was kind of like they snapped together. You had these kind of like collecting, like connector things, yeah. I mean, I used to make. If you look on the Wikipedia, there's not a lot on it at all.
I'm just looking at some images on Google.
Yeah, there's not a lot in terms of like information about it.
They're very similar to Connects, aren't they?
Yes, yeah. But the actual construction, or the images of the things that people have made are absolutely wicked. And I used to make all sorts. I had these. I did it really, really in depth and everything. I had like these 3 factions that I'd made up in my head and so on, and they were like fighting it out and all this sort of thing, and and it was great. And there was a lot of play to it, sort of thing. That you could. They had like the beams, these kind of grey beams that fit together and what have you, with these connecting kind of new things that snaps on. But then you had kind of like plates that like filled in the gaps, sort of thing. So you had those, you had like wheels, you had all sorts of. It was very kind of space kind. There was like a very much like a space feel to it. It's all like grey and white and blue with like sometimes see-through blue plastic or green plastic and what have you. And they had hinges, they had movable parts, all sorts of stuff. And I would make stuff, all these different factions that I'd made up in my head and so on, and designed vehicles and big mechs and stuff like big robots. Some of them were themed around animals and all sorts of stuff. And I found it difficult to begin with to kind of recreate them, because I had a big like tub of Construx, but obviously that's only so much. So if I wanted to build something new, then something that I'd already made had to be taken apart, and I had to come up with my own sort of like way of drawing out the designs for them, which I did do, and I had it. It was all very kind of like top down, like right. So this is the left side, blah blah blah. It fits together like and then obviously the right side would be the same most of the time, and then this is how it fit together, or this is stage 1, this is stage 2, and so on. I was actually quite impressed, because I managed to follow those designs time and time and time again, because I used to do it all the time. I designed weapons even. And me and my 2 brothers, I remember taking this big tub of Construx to my nan and granddad's, and they lived on it was quite a big long road, but it wasn't a busy road by any stretch of the imagination. And they had like a crescent, like when you have a road that's called a crescent, it obviously goes like both ends of that road are on the going to the same road, if you see what I mean. So you have like a semicircle of houses, and we went around that semicircle, using like fighting our little battles and so on, using all these weapons that I had designed. And I had like power claws and web shooters that would, and obviously none of it ever fired or anything like that. There was a missile launcher. I'd literally made like a big missile launcher that literally you held it and it had like a shoulder rest. It literally fit on your shoulder and stuff like that. And it was great. Because I didn't have much Lego growing up. Ben's got a ton of Lego, but we didn't have Lego.
You kind of sound like that guy. I don't know if you've ever seen that kid who makes the Halo guns out of cardboard boxes. They're absolutely. Oh, if you ever get a chance. You sound like him.
It was literally stuff like that, and I love that about like construction toys. It's obviously
you can let your imagination go a little bit wild with them, couldn't you?
You can do whatever you want. If I was playing on my own, which sounds dead sad, but it wasn't. It was great. I could make my little figures, my mechs, and my vehicles, and my robots and stuff, and and do by little playing with the figures that I'd made out of Construx.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, me and my 2 brothers, round at my nan and granddad's, we were like running around the neighborhood, fighting our little battles, using weapons that we'd made out of the same stuff that the day before could have been, this 4-legged robot, like an AT-AT that I'd made, and stuff like that. And it's, like I said, that's what I like about building toys, that you can use it to make whatever you want, sort of thing, whatever you're into, whatever you want to play with and what have you. That's what you can use for. And I don't know whether or not Construx was particularly popular or what have you. I know it was discontinued in 1980, so that's 5 years.
It looks like. Are you sure it's not still going? Because there is Mega Construx. I don't know whether it's the same thing, but it looks more Lego-y now.
Yeah, I had a look at that before when I was opening up like reference stuff, and I don't think that's it. Like you said, it's more like sort of Lego stuff.
Yeah, it's just a complete rip-off of Lego.
Yeah. It said it was briefly revived by Mattel in '97 and then discontinued again. But then it says Mattel resurrected the Construx name as Mega Construx in 2017.
That'll be what it is.
And I think that goes along with Mega Block. So I assume that Mega Blocks are. I know Mega Blocks are kind of like a Duplo sort of size. So I assume that you have Mega Blocks and Mega Construx are their analog to Duplo and Lego. But I mean, there were axles, there were pulleys, I remember there was a hook block. There was like one of the little connectors that actually had a hook on the end, and you threaded a piece of string through it, tied the knot on, and then you had it as as a hook on the end of a cable sort of thing on this piece of string. And that piece of string lasted for God knows. I know we never replaced it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at one now. It's like a little forklift truck, and like you can like press down at the back, and the forklift actually moves up and moves down.
I mean, on the Wikipedia, there are 4 images. One is a shuttlecraft that a very proud-looking lad has made. Another is an aircraft carrier, which is definitely along the lines of the sort of stuff I was making. There's a challenge course, which seems all right. I mean, it looks like some of these have got way more constructs than I had, and I thought I had quite a lot. And then the last one is like a Ferris wheel, and at the bottom of the Ferris wheel one, or on the Ferris wheel ones, you can see like the figures, like the little men that you got. Now, I didn't have any of the men like those, but you can tell that they are Construx ones because the hands have got the same connectors as the beams that you use to make stuff, and that they clip onto the connecting block.
That's cool.
But yeah, it was great stuff. I absolutely loved it. So there you go. My first one for tonight is Construx, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Nice.
I've never even heard of it, so
neither have I.
I'd never seen it before either. And as soon as I looked at it, I was like, that looks very like Connects, and I did have Connects.
That's what I mean. Yes, I had Connects as well. It does sound like Connects when you were saying.
But it looks way better than Connects as well, though. It looks like the way more detailed, and there's much more you can do with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ben's got it was a lot more solid because literally when you clip them together, they were clipped together. Connect seems to pop out something rotten.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I've just found an image now, and it's somebody's made a Johnny 5.
Out of Construx.
Yeah. It's not the best quality image, but I've just whacked it up on the Facebook group. It's
oh my word,
that's pretty awesome.
He's alive.
Oh wow, that is wicked.
Your mother was a snowblower.
Amazing. Okay, right. Let's move on to Mike. And what's your first choice?
You would just say that as soon as I'm just taking a drink.
Yes, I would.
Right. So, I following on from Chris, I might as well go straight into Lego because Lego was definitely huge in my childhood, and I did have quite a lot of Lego. Definitely was a bit more sort of spoiled in that way. So. Mm-hmm. I did have lots of Lego kits and stuff like that. And my favorite thing as well was when you got the Lego kits, you'd get something like a spaceship, which I'd like a big massive space shuttle, and you'd build it once and you'd spend hours building it piece by piece and following the manual. And when you were done with it, you'd play with it for a little bit and then just break it down, shove it in a tub with all the other Lego, and then you got to play with it and make other stuff with it. And obviously it was just, for me, it was just the ultimate toy for just making loads of stuff. I mean, yeah, quite often you would just make a little bloody house or something like that. But over time, I built up that much of it that it just you could make massive little landscapes and just sit with your friends and just chat shit basically. So I've said this before, I've heard it somewhere else. Someone called it Go Talk, where you would sit with a friend and you'd both be chatting away, but playing with Lego, and neither of you were actually listening to the other person, but you were just chatting shit basically while you're playing with Lego, and it was you'd go into this mental state of I just think.
I remember you talking about this before.
Yeah, and people would. If you ever watch kids play with Lego, they just go into this zoned out space where they sit playing with it, and it's fantastic. And I think it's obviously great for sort of learning different skills and stuff like that as well. I just think it was brilliant, to be honest with you. I won't jump too much on it. I won't talk about it too much because everyone knows Lego. I don't know if you guys want to chat a little bit more about it.
No,
I didn't have that much of a of a thing with it, to be honest with you.
Did you not?
I was more Connects.
I didn't have much thing of it when I was younger, but now that I'm an adult, I would love to have Lego a lot more now. But I'd need like 2 spare rooms just empty because I'd want to buy that much and just build loads. Because like some of it's huge. I'm just on the Lego store now, and there's one that I've just seen, which is the Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone, and I want to get it. It's 60 quid.
I buy stuff for my nephew whenever it's like his birthday or Christmas and stuff like that, because it's great for just like buy it for him and then we can sit together and just build the thing, like we did the speeder bike, Star Wars speeder bike not long ago. And it's amazing how intricate it's become and how little tiny the pieces have become now. It's way more detailed than it used to be.
Oh yeah, well I watched a guy review the Home Alone Lego set that he built, and going through it though, like all the stuff that was in it, I couldn't believe. I had little bits in the house that I wouldn't even think of what was in it. It's even got this bit from the movie. And I was like, bloody hell, it has, hasn't it? Like the amount of stuff that put inside it. Like I was just watching the guy who built it and he was reviewing it, and I think it was so obscene, like something that you just wouldn't have thought about, which was like a passing glance in the movie. And it was in there still.
Yeah, it's like the stairway with the paint cans.
Yeah, it's that. But it was a picture of Buzz's girlfriend. That's it. Yeah, woof. That's it. Like, you got a picture of Buzz's girlfriend. Like of all the things that to stick in it, and like just a picture of his girlfriend. And I was like, bloody hell! Like some of the detail things that they put in it, and I just want to see that.
Yeah, but it's a Lego version of Buzz's girlfriend.
Yeah, and it's just a picture.
Oh my god,
that is legit amazing.
Yeah,
and it's awesome now as well. Like people can like make creations themselves out of all the like pieces of Lego, then submit it to Lego to be a set. And then if it gets confirmed, there's literally a website where you can go and like vote on kits that you'd like to see made.
Oh, that's good. That
it's really amazing.
Well, not only that, but there is actually an app that you can get. Now, I don't know how well this works. I have downloaded the app, and I will be honest with you, I haven't actually tried it. But the idea is that it uses the camera on your phone. If you take a photo or like open the camera, open this app and it uses the camera, it's supposed to like basically you take a photo of your Lego collection and it will tell you what kits you can make.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty awesome.
From your collection. Now, I don't want to put it out there so that's like categorically exactly how it works, and that it does in fact work that accurately. Like I said, I've downloaded it, but we haven't actually tested it out. But I'd be very impressed if that is the case.
I mean, the way things are now, and like how good quality cameras are on phones, it wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. And like I said before, I didn't have Lego growing up, or not. In fact, I don't even think I had any, to be honest. I had other things. But Ben's got an absolute load of it, and I think nowadays, because it's all being licensed out, I know. I don't know whether was Star Wars the first license that Lego used.
I'm not sure.
Or
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Obtained. It might be. I don't quote me on it. I'm sure I've read that today somewhere, so don't quote me on it. It might not be right at all. But
I bet you've done more research than me, because I'm just going to chat about what I played with.
But I mean, like Mike says, and I love the fact that people are actually. Well, I don't love it because it drives the prices up, I suppose. But I love the fact that people actually like hijack lorries of Lego. This is over in Europe. Because it maintains and increases its value better than gold.
Brilliant. Do you ever remember when James May made the house out of Lego?
Yeah.
You've seen there was a documentary where he built like a house that he was gonna like build and then try and sell as a full house, fully made out of Lego. Everything was in it. You could walk around it, but he had to buy so much Lego, and it was like getting ridiculous. With truckloads of Lego coming in all the time, and it got to the point where like Well, he tried to sell it and he just could not sell it. He couldn't sell the whole thing as like one thing. So he ended up like, I think he donated the Lego back to like somewhere else, to a museum or something.
Not fair news.
It's a good, interesting watch though. Well, it's because it's so big, it all starts cracking and falling apart, and they have to be so careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the episode we made the what was it? Meccano Bridge in Liverpool.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
That was really good. Okay, so let's move on to Craig. What's your first choice?
Mine is I didn't realise it came out in 1963, and it is the board game Mousetrap.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, I recently bought that.
Yeah,
Mousetrap. Ben's got the new, like, the updated one, yeah.
And like I say, I've been looking at it as well. It's one of the first mass-produced 3-dimensional board games ever made as well. So, like I said, it is like one of the top there. Like I said, I used to love playing this game though. Like I don't know if you ever actually got it to work, but the end.
Yeah.
I mean, the end bit of it, where the thing's meant to either go down, you'd either knock it playing the game and it'll go all the way down.
To be bloody careful, yeah.
Or when it was meant to actually do the thing, it would only drop down once when you got to the end, and the little green guy would never flip into his cup. But
well, if that happened, it like, if you actually read the instructions, if that happens, then it doesn't. So you just keep playing.
Yeah,
and that was part of the rules for it. If it failed,
I've not played it in such
if the
a long time.
Failed, then
we recently played it again, and it was the old version. Like, they remade the old version again because they remade it, and they did it with like a toilet where you flush a toilet, and it was utterly rubbish because it just wasn't the same. But they've remade it, the old version again, and that's the one we bought not long ago.
I think I'm gonna have to buy this soon for let me and my daughter play it. But I remember playing Mousetrap with my mates. They had that as a board game, but I didn't realise it was 1963.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's over 50 years old.
I was thought around about 70s, 80s.
That's what I mean. I would have thought maybe like 70s, 80s this game come out, but 1963, like...
I remember playing it when I was very young at like my nan's house. My cousins had bought it, and they got it for Christmas or something, and sitting playing it.
It's such a simple game as well. Like, it's a thing, but like I said, I really enjoyed playing Mousetrap when I was younger. Like I said, although I can't remember any of the rules. Like I said, like, you're going over now what you're saying about what. I just can't remember. I just remember playing it when I was younger. And
I remember it being frustrating, as you said, when someone knocked the table or something.
Oh yeah, but that's what I mean. Someone knocked the table, and the thing would go down all the way. But actually, when it was meant to catch the mouse at the end, when it was meant to drop, it would drop one on those things, and you're like, it didn't work when you went through. So it was a frustrating game, but I did love it.
Ooh, it was brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I'll move on to my first choice, and it is the Batman 1989 toy range from Toybiz. There was only 3 figures in the first series, and that was Batman, Joker, and Bob the Goon. Now, I remember the day that Bob the Goon, it was like Joker's henchman. He came with a hat and a knife, of all things. I remember the day that Asda opened in Runcorn. Going in with my grandmother, and she bought me some pick a figure, and the Joker was there, so I got the Joker. Got it back to hers, and the leg broke off. I was absolutely gutted. So anyway, so I had to take it back to Asda. The second day it was open, and they only had to swap it over, and they only had 1 figure left, and it was Bob the Goon. So my first proper Batman figure was Bob the Goon with his hat and his knife. But luckily enough, my mum took me to Index a couple of weeks later.
Index.
Index.
Oh, hell, I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah,
in a 2-pack, I got Batman and the Joker, and they were repaints of the what's it called? The Kenner Super Friends Superpowers line. So it was a repaint of the Batman figure and a repaint of the Joker. The Joker had like a little water canister that you stuck into the back with a little tube, and it would fire water out of the a lapel, mimicking his his acid spraying flour, and then Batman had a cloth cape that would detach like this little clip that used to break off in the back. Came with a batarang, and it also came with a so you pulled out the utility belt and be like use as a grappling hook, and it pull it back up, so it's like on a motor, and you could drag him back up. But with this, there was only like at the first series, you had 3 figures. You had the Batmobile. My granddad used to work for Ford Motor Company. Every year, all the family, all the grandchildren or children, like employees, would go to like a Christmas party. You get a toy, and in this one, I got the Batmobile. And then one Easter, I also got the Batwing, and the Batwing was top tier. I mean, if anybody's seen it, it was like the Batwing from the 1989 film. It fired like 2 those little suction cup darts you used to have.
Yeah.
And then had like a little grappling hook so you could grab onto the Joker or Bob, and then fly him off and drop him somewhere. And it was just a beauty. I mean, the box art. I was talking about this with somebody on Instagram today, and the box art was just top notch. It was like a gold design.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Bob the Goon one. Is it just a backpack with like plastic on it? But like on this one, it's like power kick, and Bob the Goon's like kicking it.
I can't remember having a power kick, but I just remember the knife and the hat that came off. The only thing it didn't have was the Batcave playset, which, like we all know, the 80s had the best play sets, especially for interactivity. Yeah, Castle Grayskull, the Batcave. That was the one thing I never had. And but yeah, so that's my first choice. The Toybiz 1989 series. Okay, so back to Chris. What is your second choice?
Right, my second one is not particularly surprising, and that is Transformers.
Transformers, childhood traumatized.
Now, I know that at some point we will get to doing a Transformers,
definitely.
And so on. So I don't want to wax lyrical too much about all the ins and outs and so on of the Transformers toy lines over the many, many, many years. But I did have Transformers. I knew most of my mates had some kind of Transformers, and they were brilliant. And I think that is where my kind of love for big robots comes from, because I've always been into stuff like that. So Transformers, any kind of mech sort of anime, stuff like that. I just think they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And Transformers was great, and the toys were awesome. Now,
yeah, they
I
really
were. I get frustrated with some of the Transformers toys nowadays, or the impression that I get from them, because they just seem to be like dead simplistic and so on, as though like.
Oh, well, you got to keep kids pleased these days. That's why.
I don't know. They do. I think they do more complicated ones as well. Because
I've just gone on now. I've just saw a link, and it's like a link to Amazon, and it's got like an Optimus Prime one. There's a Nemesis Prime one, some sort of flying helicopter guy, and a Bumblebee.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if these are actually actually Transformers, because the name is Helicopter Toy. Bumblebee is called Black Mamba Machine, and Optimus Prime is called Original Secker.
I have a little Google for Transformers Generations toys, because they were way
that's
more
what I mean.
complicated.
Yeah, they're like the big, like properly transforming ones, aren't they? So, yeah. I have seen them. I'm aware that you can get actually proper.
The bloody expensive.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but the ones that I'm talking about are the ones where you press a button and it literally, the car bends in half, and look, there's a robot, and it's, they were terrible. They were. So
I didn't have a lot of Transformers when I was a kid. I had Optimus Prime. I know for a fact I had Optimus Prime.
I had Optimus Prime. I had Grimlock. I never had Megatron, but I did know somebody who did, and I was dead jealous when they'd bring it around to ours, and it was like, I didn't have stuff like Starscream and so on. And my favourite one was one called Sandstorm, which could turn into a car, like a futuristic car, and a helicopter. So that was my favourite one. I had Grimlock as well, but he was the only Dinobot I had. So, but I was very lucky to have him. So,
if you want to see one of the worst Transformer toys, just have a little Google. Anyone at home wants to do this as well, and look for the Wheelie Transformer. I just type in
from the movie.
No, this is this is old though. That's like, it's so bad.
Yeah, the Transformers the movie.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. And I remember like some of them, like the more rubbish ones, they had like a little hologram that you could rub, and if you rubbed it, it would like give it a little bit more sort of like you could see the hologram more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see. Oh my word, I've just seen it.
It's so bad.
It looks like a GoBot.
It does, and it's a Transformer. They made some crap versions of Transformers as well.
Yeah,
they did. Do you remember the watches you used to get? You used to be a watch and it turned into a Transformer.
Yeah, I do kind of remember them.
I remember kids
you
went
to be able
to
to get everything that turned into. McDonald's did hamburgers and stuff and fries.
I had them, yeah. I had them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did have many of the Transformers toys. I did have a friend who had friend of the show, Chris Jones, not Chris Moss. Jones. This is my oldest friend from primary school, and he had Galvatron, but I had Metroplex, which was like a big base one. That was like one of the later ones, and I think the only other one I had was I want to say it was a construction truck, but I couldn't tell you what Transformer it was, but I think it was the first one I had. But yeah, I only had like 2 Transformers. Chris had what's his name? He was in Transformers the movie. He was the Autobot leader between Optimus Prime and Hot Rod.
Ultra Magnus.
That's it. Yeah, he had Ultra Magnus as well.
Nice.
There was a guy that I knew. He'd come into one of the game shops in town where Gamers and Witness. It used to be called Game Station, I think.
Yeah.
And he had this like Transformers MP3 player. Like when he took it apart, it could transform into headphones as well, which I thought was really good. So
yeah, I remember that one.
So like you said, yeah, you can like you said, it was still like an MP3 player, but you can you can take bits off it and transform it into headphones. And then if it was like an Optimus Prime one he had, it was really good. But I'm just trying to look online now for him, but there are some on there, but it's not like the one that he had.
He did a sound wave, didn't he? That literally converted into the cassette player. So
I can see some of the cassette players and that, but this one that he had was really good.
I'm just looking at one. Oh my god! They even made one that was a docking station for I don't know if it's a thingy or whether someone's. Oh no, this is Japanese. They made a docking station one of Optimus Prime where you could put your Apple iPod in.
Bloody hell!
Really?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now.
We laugh, but I would have that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, let's face it, we all have it. We all say it, but yeah, we all would have it. I agree with Chris there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. Mike, what is your next choice?
My next choice would be Scalectrix.
Oh, nice. Wow.
I absolutely love Scalectrix, and I got incredibly lucky when I was younger. My granddad had been to some auction, and he bidded on this like Scalectrix, but it was, do you know the old shipping crates that used to get, the wooden shipping crates with like the rope on the side? It was one of them, and it was just full of Scalectrix. It had all it had loads of like the DC connectors, it had loads of the battery compartments, and it had tons and tons of track and cars, and it was just a random jumble of Scalectrix that he'd managed to get really cheap. So I had so much, and he turned up to like the house with it, and my mum was not happy. This like giant shipping crate of like Scalectrix. She was like, oh, "Where are we going to put that?" I think I ended up using the shipping crate just like in my bedroom as a toy box, and I kept all like Scalectrix underneath the bed, and it was tons and tons of it. But I used to create like massive tracks around the house. And it'd like take me ages. My friends would come round and we'd make massive tracks. So much so that we had to put different power sets in, like, because it would run out of power if it got so far. But we could like keep it going for absolute like, ages. We'd go outside the front door, back in off the step, and like, back into the living room, out the back door. It was huge.
Nice.
I used to love the loops on me.
Oh yeah. Well, I ended up having to buy a loop separate because it didn't have any loops with it. This was just back, and it had like loads of like scenery stuff in the thing. But I think he's been someone who'd been a collector, an adult collector, and had made them in like maybe in his loft or something, and he just wants to just get rid of the lot. So it didn't have loops, but we did buy loops afterwards. Put like sets with that in. The only thing with it is because we had so much. I mean, my friends would be like controlling them. You'd see it go off and like into like the kitchen, and you couldn't follow them because the controllers were on a cable. So you didn't. You just hoped that it would come back again and come back in through the door again. But if not, you have to go find out where it had flown off the track, and, like hit the cat's face or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, they were good. Yeah, good. I mean, I think my cousins had it. I never had it growing up.
We had one kit or set or
I had one,
and it was just basically it went round in a circle sort of thing. So
it was always a figure of 8, wasn't it? Like a figure of 8 with the bridge.
Ours wasn't a figure of 8, but it did have 2 points where the cars would cross over.
Yeah, the crossover part, and if they went at the same time, they'd smash into each other.
No, mine was a figure of 8, but I had like a bridge that went over it. You could the track lifted up.
Well, nice. On the sets, obviously because I had tons of the stuff, there was even little tracks where the tracks would like swerve on one side towards the other side. So if your cars got like to that section of track, one of you had to slow down, otherwise you just smash each other off the track on that point as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It was really fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Craig, what is your next choice?
Mine's another one that used to frustrate me for one little spit in it, and I don't know why. Because looking at it now, it seems so easy. But it was I don't know if it's a board game, but because it's like a figure, but it was Screwball Scramble.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but the bit where you go into the maze and you can't see the ball just used to always frustrate. I could never get out of it for some reason. But looking at it now,
the top off.
looking at it now, it's so simple. But like when I was 6 or whatever, I just couldn't do it. And like I said, I used to have to shake it around until it come out. But I've been looking online as well. Like they've done like a couple like spin-offs of them as well. And there's like a Mario one which looks really good. But I can just remember this game like trying to beat the timer, going up and down that first bridge, swinging the ball around, jumping up, and then pressing that last thing. You'd always press it too hard, the ball would come flying out of the fucking thing, but not hit the bell on it instead. But yeah, Screwball. I used to love playing that Screwball Scramble. And, like I think me and my auntie had one. Like I said, we just used to play him all the time. It's the one that I used to always play. But yeah, that little maze bit inside of it, I don't know why. Like I said, it's to the right, down, to the left, down, to the right, up, then to the right and down, and that's it. Like looking at it, but it was just like Mike said, you could have took the top off and you can see what you're doing.
That's what we did. We literally just pulled it apart. It wasn't even screwed on; it was glued on. We just snapped it off.
I didn't think of that, but
the one thing as well I always remember is the bridge. If you got it in a certain place and whacked it, you could fire the marble, which was a metal ball bearing. You could fire it quite far.
That's what I mean. It was fucking hard. If you hit that last bit and smacked it.
It was
coming out. It wasn't going in that little hoop and ringing the bell.
No.
It was flying out and hitting you in the head. But
bloody steel ball bearing to the face.
But no, I love playing Screwball Scramble. I don't know if any of you had it, like you said. Well,
I've played it. I see they made a sequel as well. Yeah, Argos sold.
Is that? Oh, does that got the same one?
Yeah, Screwball Scramble 2.
Oh, cool.
24.9.
But no, like I said, if you can have a look online, have a look at that Mario one. It looks brilliant. Like I said, it does look really good, the Mario one of it. And like I said, it's one that I want now, but I'm going to have a quick look on that.
Mario called Mario Maze Game DX. Is that it?
Let me see if I can find it.
I'd never seen this before, but I've just found one where it's the old one, but then it connects to another one.
Yeah, I've just seen that as well. I never saw that.
That looks really cool.
Yeah.
all it's in, it's probably only released in German because it's all in German on the website I found. But,
nice.
Oh no, Screwball Scramble level 2. So it connects to the old one, and it's like another level.
Mm-hmm.
That looks awesome.
But like,
I kind of want that now.
I'm gonna send this picture on the thing here now, but I don't know. This is kind of like a Screwball Scramble. I didn't even think of this. It's just an image that's come up, and see if any of you ever played this as well. And just looking at it now, I played.
It's a picture of your penis.
I don't think you played that, but
looks like an otter. Oh, I remember that one. Kong.
I remember this as well.
It's kind of like a Screwball Scramble thing, isn't it? Like it was
a vertical one, yeah.
Yeah, those type of games I used to love playing. You used to have like a magnet stuck to it, didn't it? And the ball used to go up the side or something.
And it would literally stick to the front of it. It was like magic. When you were a child. It was like...
Yeah.
But I used to love those type of games, like playing them to get around the board with a metal ball bearing.
And you can see it was just a complete rip off of King Kong on that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose I hasn't got a little Italian plumber somewhere at the top.
Possibly. Never know. Okay, well, I'll go with my my second choice, and this is it's a bit of one of the more obscure ones, and that was Bionic 6. Now, like
Bionic 6.
Yeah, Bionic 6. I just remember picking them up from the old Toy Master shop in Lincoln Shopping City. And you remember what that place was like? You couldn't move. It was just the aisles of you had that many toys in it. It was only a small shop as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The aisles were that densely packed and quite thin, but everything was in there. So I remember picking these up. So Bionic 6 is inspired loosely by the $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman TV shows. And the Bionic 6 followed the adventures of Jack Bennett, codenamed Bionic 1, his wife Helen Bennett, codenamed Mother 1, their two biological children, Eric, Sport 1, Meg, Rock 1, and their two foster sons, JD, IQ, and Bungie, Karate 1. So an attack by these evil aliens left Jack's family fighting for life, and their friend, Professor Sharp, used Jack's bionics to save the family. In turn, they worked with the government fighting Dr. Sharp's evil brother, Dr. Scarab, and other assorted villains. Now, these figures were quite unique because they were a mix of plastic, like clear neon-coloured plastic, and die-cast metal. And the problem with these were, because I remember the first one I did. I was in my nan's. We were dropping toys off the banister. It was only about halfway up, so you're talking about 3-4 feet. And I dropped. I had Dr. Scarab figure. I think it was one of the first ones I got. So I dropped off the side, and all the other figures just landed. Dr. Scarab just hit the ground, and his arm just flew off in one direction. No, it was the leg actually. His leg flew off in one direction, and his body flew off in another. They were known for being really quite brittle. I was not sure because it was the die-cast metal or the plastic, and just didn't mesh together. So I had to go and get another one. I ended up getting this. It was like the robot sidekick. It was a robot animal sidekick. It was covering all the 80s tropes. So yeah, it was a sidekick. It was an animal, and it was a robot. I was called Fluffy, and it was a big gorilla, and that was just mainly just die-cast. They were really heavy. If you threw them at somebody, it would hurt. I had a couple of things, so I had Jack Bennett as well. I think I got like a couple of the villains, but I did remember getting for my birthday. It was their secret headquarters playset, which yet again was just like it had like a secret, like it was like a secret. What was it called? Let me just got it up. called the Secret Special Projects Lab. And so it's like a secret entrance where it's like a statue, and you just open, you twist and the doors opened, and it's all like neon plastics again inside. It was really quite a good interactive playset. I know my dad has spent ages putting it together. But yeah, that was my choice. It was Bionic 6.
I don't remember them toys at all. Just never seen them before.
About to say the same thing. I do not remember these toys whatsoever.
How weird.
Yeah, it was really obscure. I mean, it was like, I'd say mid to late 80s. Didn't last long. This cartoon didn't last long either. But yeah, it had a good theme tune. I know that the episodes are on YouTube, and there is an episode of Toy Galaxy about the show. So if anybody out there wants to learn about the history of the show and the toys, it's actually on there. So Chris, back to you. What is your third and final pick?
Right, my third and final one is one that I couldn't think of a third one for a while. And then I remembered these, and I used to have these and used to collect them, and they were a big deal for me. And that is Monsters in My Pocket, which were made by Matchbox for the most part. And I've just been going through. This is the one where I've got so many tabs open for this. It's utterly unbelievable. Because I was going through, remembering all the ones that I had, and so on and so forth. And I had all of Series 1, and I mean literally all of Series 1. And I had all of Series 2. And then Series 3, I don't remember at all. But there's only 9 of them, so, you know. Series 4. Sorry, I should start off by going, right, what they were is these little, well, they'd be plastic, wouldn't they? Like rubber.
They were rubber, yeah.
Rubber toys, rubber figures, just one, not articulated, just literally rubber molded.
Yeah, they were just injection molded.
Yeah, and the idea was that these were real monsters, right? And that was the main selling point, and it did actually get them into trouble, and I'll get to that in a second. These were real monsters. These were monsters, creatures taken from real world mythology and folklore and stuff like that. Going through Series 1, you start off, the very first one is the Great Beast, which I didn't even realize at the time, and it's only through reading stuff here. It's actually a biblical thing.
Great Beast. Is that meant to be the devil?
No, it's nothing to do with the devil, but I'm sure it's a biblical thing, and I can't find where it says that now, so I'm a bit annoyed. But it's I think it's actually from one of the first chapters in the Bible, I think. And it's like a big several-headed thing. Let me just search the Great Beast in the Bible. In Revelations. In Revelations, was given a mouth speaking in blasphemies against God and His name. So there you go, the beast. I think that's the one. I think that's the same one. But yeah, they had all sorts, and they had a point system. They went from 5 to 25 in increments of 5. And
they'd put the points on the feet, wouldn't they? Like on the bottom of the feet.
Yeah, on one of the feet. Yeah. So the top ones, the ones that had 25 points, were the Great Beast, Hydra, which is obviously from Greek mythology, Werewolf, which I actually remembered it being lower, but it's not. That is a 25 pointer. The Behemoth, and was this one 25? Yeah, the Griffin. And Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was obviously king of the dinosaurs. And then it goes down to 20, 15, 10, and then 5, where you find stuff like the witch and the skeleton and the hunchback and so on. Series 2 expanded this and had some very neon colours as well. They had 4 in fact, I think Series 1 had the neon colours as well. But they originally came in purple, red, like an olive green, and then a kind of yellow, and then they did like neon versions as well.
What about the 80s and neon?
Yeah, I know. Series 2 had all sorts of stuff, a bit more kind of like stuff like Dragon, which you might be a bit surprised wasn't in the first series, but you Jabberwock, a Golem, Loch Ness Monster, Elbow Witch, which was a bit random, Spectre, all sorts of stuff. And then Series 3, like I said, I don't recognise. Series 4 was the Super Scary series. And this is where they started doing like really bad paint jobs on them. So they originally all one colour, one solid colour.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
And then Super Scary series, of which only one was like actually scary, which was the Dybbuk, which the actual figure is like a monstrous looking little girl with her head on backwards and these giant like ogre like arms, and I always thought that was actually quite freaky, but the rest of them were, you could take it or leave it. And then that kind of trend of having these really bad hand painted jobs over like a flat color continued on into series 5, which was like scary bugs. Series 6 was dinosaurs, and some of these are recognized, but then you start thinking the quality goes downhill, especially with the dinosaurs. They're all over the place a little bit, and then the space aliens, which I just don't recognize at all. That's series 7. Series 8 was more dinosaurs, and then you got monster wrestlers, which I'm sure you got in boxes of like Frosties and stuff like that.
Yeah. I've seen an image as I was looking through, and there was a Tony the Tiger, so it was clearly out of
the first 9 were promotional figures in Kellogg's Frosties cereals. 10 to 40 and 42 were sold in stores. Were there that many wrestlers? Actually, there were quite a few wrestlers. Not that many. That sounds like there were literally like 40 odd, and I don't think there were. But the first 9. I think we had the first 9 because none of the rest looked familiar at all. So, and then they had Monster Sports Stars, which is and then Monster Ninjas, and you know what I mean, where it starts going off on one, and the paint jobs on them, can't say it enough, really were terrible.
Did you say they got in trouble? Was it like Universal Monsters, maybe?
No. Right. The trouble that they had, let me find it, because I had it before and now it's gone. But what I was saying is, the original series, series 1 and 2, I had all of them. I even took we had like a night at Scouts where you're supposed to like take a collection of something. I took mine because I had literally had all of them. And it got to the point where, and bless her, my nan actually said, that show where you had people going on and they had experts and stuff, and they had some sort of challenge. Do you remember that at all?
Antiques Roadshow?
No.
I was thinking, like, we did a challenge on that.
Like, I remember there was a guy who was like an expert in windmills, and they basically gave him like 50 windmills to like identify where the location of them was in like 5 minutes. And I remember being impressed. No, it wasn't Mastermind. It was like a Saturday night show.
All right.
I don't remember.
Do you remember before that there was also a set of toys called Muscle, although it was spelt?
Yeah, I remember that.
There was a dot in between,
and
they were very, very similar. And I think they came out and didn't last quite as long as Monsters in My Pocket, but I think they came first.
Yeah, they did.
Muscle came first.
They were very similar. They were a bit harder. Like
and they were just flat
pink. In My Pocket were very they were like a sort of pinky colour. I remember because a lad round ours had them. And I had Monsters in My Pocket. Right, I found what I was looking for in terms of this. Monsters in My Pocket actually got into trouble, not from the monsters or or any sort of copyright thing, but actually from the Hindu communities, because they depicted divinities like Kali, Ganesha, Hanuman, and Yama, and because they were depicted as monsters, there was actually a public outcry by the Hindu
yeah, of
community.
course, because you're depicting gods as monsters.
Yeah, so I think in the UK, Hanuman was, after the 4th series, I think, was actually removed from the UK run. So yeah, and I think what it says here is they actually decide to play it safe, and the follow-up series is where you start getting the super creepies, which were the insect ones, and then dinosaurs and space aliens. So that actually kind of prompted this kind of direction turn from real world, like folklore, mythology, monsters to be honest, something a bit mundane.
Yeah, but you can understand why they did it. I mean, like, they did with Kali, and Kali's the Hindu goddess of death. So I mean, it does seem a bit monstrous, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I get where they're coming from in terms of, like, they had a problem with the wording, with, like, you are depicting our divine figures as monsters.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
But the way it was done, and I'm not trying to make out as though this was a very kind of like cerebral exercise by Matchbox, like, at all. They were making toys, but there were figures here that, Karnak was one of them in series 1. The Tengu, which is Japanese. I'd never heard of a Tengu before, and I don't think I've heard much of it since. So the Jotun troll from Norse mythology, and it goes into the monster is Frankenstein's monster. For example, the Phantom in series 2 is the Phantom of the Opera. There was that element of educational value.
Yeah, there was definitely influenced by loads of different things that you probably wouldn't have seen before as a kid.
Exactly, and read it, because I didn't read that bit before, that it was actually that issue that prompted the change in that. I am a little bit disappointed. I'm obviously not disappointed with the Hindu community or anything like that. I'm just a bit disappointed. It's a bit sad
be
that
careful with
sort of thing. Yeah, no, well, that's what I mean. I completely understand why. I think that it could have been handled differently, and I know that they were being very careful, and that's why the next series that they did was bugs. But bugs, I mean, I get it. It's probably going to be aimed at boys and stuff. Boys like bugs. It just seems that the direction that they already had, they could have still been careful about stuff. And maintained that sort of style.
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's one like that's more sort of like Egyptian-y and sort of like it is, and it probably gains interest for kids as well in them subjects. Like, someone goes, "Oh, that looks very Egyptian," then the kid goes, "Does it?" And we'll find out more about Egypt, and so it's not the most worst thing in the world.
Well, no, exactly. You had Anubis was in series 3, which, like I said, I don't recognize any of series 3. But even series 4, even the super scary series, you've still got like I said, Hanuman is a Hindu character that I'm not familiar with, but he's in the Yama Staroth, which is a European demon sort of thing. So these we're still maintaining that kind of direction. But yeah, but there you go. That's the kind of what happened. That was the issues that Matchbox had in the end. So
yeah, see, they made a game as well, didn't they? And there was
on Nintendo.
I've never played this, but it looks very similar to sort of like a Castlevania style game.
Yeah, it was distributed by Konami, and it was made by Palcom, who did the Ninja Turtles game, the first one.
It just looks like it's got a very Castlevania style vibe to it.
Yeah, it does look like a mix between if it was like if Castlevania was based, because it looks like they're going around a house, so but because it's so small, so everything's like quite big. So it's like a mix between Micro Machines and Castlevania.
Yeah.
They also did comics of it as well. So yeah. I just wanted to, I did say I was going to mention these as well. And I'm just going through the wiki for this as well, because we mentioned about like these collectible figures, and we were trying to think of one that Ian mentioned, and you couldn't remember what they were called, could you? And it was Battle Beasts, of which I had quite a few of these as well. Which were little 2-inch tall action figures, and they were anthropomorphized animals with like body armor, and they came with a unique weapon, and they had like a hologram on the front, as a lot of toys did at the time.
A lot did, yeah.
And they had different elements on them. Looking at this, I was not aware of this. They were produced by Takara and distributed by Takara in Japan under the name Beast Formers, and they were actually marketed and branded as a spin-off of Transformers.
Oh, didn't know that.
Oh, comes full circle.
No idea of at all. And there were 4 series released overall, and it actually goes through. They are actually affiliated with the Autobots and the Decepticons, and on the Wikipedia, it's got a big list of which ones were which.
Wow.
And it looks like there were comic stuff, because if you look at the characters, I'll read the top one, just the top one. I do remember this one as well. The top one is one of the Autobots is White Leo. It's an anthropomorphic white lion who is the eye patch wearing leader of the Autobot aligned Battle Beast and the king of Historam, North Snarl. Birthplace Leiku City. Role Supreme Commander. His English name is Pirate Lion. He's the 11th king of the Lion family, which has existed for thousands of years. Besides excelling in martial arts, he has supernatural abilities that allow him to use the ancient arts of universal creation that have been passed down from generation to generation. I just thought these little figures. These literally these characters, they've all got big backstories. They tell you where they were born and all sorts.
Was I remember they had quite a dense backstory, didn't they?
It bloody looks like it. I just thought they were wicked because there were these animals wearing fancy armor and stuff. I thought they were cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm actually super impressed with this.
Chris
is going to be on eBay later. Okay, so moving on, Mike, what is your final pick?
My final pick, I don't know how many of you remember these, was the Incredible Cat Crash Dummies.
I had the game.
Yeah. I had I bought it, and it was for Christmas, and I'd never asked for it, and I just got it. And it's a big car with 2 crash test dummies, and the crash test dummies clicked together, and they had springs inside them, and 2 buttons on the front. And the car you had to build, it was a bit it took a while, and you build it, and you put the guy in, you put the seat belts on, or you wouldn't, so you didn't have to. And then you would literally crash it, and they would just fly apart. Bits would fly in every direction, and it even had like a little airbag on the steering wheel. The steering wheel pop off, airbag would pop out, and I just found them so much fun. I was looking them up before, and there was even it's quite, when you look at them, you think they probably wouldn't be allowed to do that anymore. They had buggies or strollers for the Americans, but with baby crash test dummies, and little baby seats that you could put in the car that would fly out and make the baby fly out. And it was just so much fun, but just to literally build this thing, and it'd take ages for you to build, and then just smash it into a wall and just watch bits fly everywhere, heads flying off in different directions, and then you just have to go around finding where all the bits were. It's if you'd done it on a wooden floor or something like that, they could fly off quite a distance, and they'd end up underneath bloody fridge and stuff.
Yeah, you'd lose the parts very easily, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've seen the playset that they have, the Crash Test Dummies testing center where you had a wall that you could fire up and that. It's
yeah, there was loads of bits. I had the big red car that had the airbag, and I had 2 figurines with it, and I played with it and played with it and played with it, I think, until I lost all of the parts, and then it was just it was no use playing with it anymore. But I played with it for so long.
I'm just watching a video of it here now, of the figures, the button that you press them and they just arms and legs fall off.
Just fly apart.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. It was so much fun to mess around with.
I never had the toys, but I had the game. That was it.
There's a ride actually in Epcot as well in America called Test Track, and you're actually a test dummy. Yeah, obviously it doesn't do anything, but you get put in these cars, and you test the braking, and that it moves around these obstacles dead quick. And then it puts you on this track where it goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, dead quick. So, like you said, you go around it dead quick. So you're basically like a test track dummy and stuff like that yourself. But it's really good.
I think the idea of the toys as well, I think they were like an educational toy of teaching kids to put the belts on and stuff like that. That was the idea of it originally. But as Ian said, they ended up making computer games of it, and the computer game was like a platformer, wasn't it? But I was watching a video of that before, and even when you're in the car, it's a platformer, and you make the car jump. It was like side-scrolling platformer, very odd.
I'm just looking up. I'm sure did they make a cartoon?
I think they did make a cartoon.
Yeah.
I think they made a comic as well. They made a comic as well.
It was the 80s. They made that. Oh, it was the 90s. Sorry, the Incredible Crash Dummies. It was called.
I think they came out in 1990. Yeah.
1993. So
I think
it was
they only
90s,
ran,
not 80s.
And they only ran for 4 years. So it was it's amazing that they managed to do so much in that 4 years, because there was loads of bits you could get for them.
Yeah, they did go. I remember always looking at the Argos catalog when it came out. There was loads of crash test dummies. Figures everywhere.
I'm not surprised they got discontinued, because I imagine eventually someone would have went, this isn't probably the best thing to be showing kids, that you should smash your car into the wall.
Or the fact that you get a small child could choke on it.
Well, yeah, there is that as well. But I mean, in the 80s and 90s, that wasn't a worry, was it? You just hit them on the back and then sent them back out to play again.
True. Okay, Craig, what's your final pick?
My final pick it's kind of like a Transformers, but in a way where you put them all together, which is the Power Ranger toys.
I thought you were going to say GoBots then.
No, not GoBots.
But, you were hoping he was going to say GoBots.
No, I remember my friend having the first Megazord set and building that, and then I got one myself. Even the weapons as well. I got the original weapons from the first series, the power sword, the daggers, the bow. I used to love building them and put them together to actually make the power. I think it's called the Power Blaster in the series. I can't remember what it's called. But I didn't get the original Megazord, which I was gutted about. But I got the Ninja Zord, the White Tiger Zord, and the Shogun Zords. But like I said, it's 5 Zords for each one. Though building together, and I used to love building them now. And it was actually only a couple of years ago I was actually thinking of buying some to have figurines, but some of the prices of the original ones, they're £200. I said, I was like, no, thank you. I ain't got the money. But like I said, it was another one where it's quite actually detailed. Now you build them and stuff like that. You have to tuck the head into its chest. The legs come off some of them. You tuck the legs in and stuff like that. But like I said, all the Power Ranger stuff, so even the figures, you used to press the button on the head, and the head used to flip upside down. So you'd press the button, the back used to pop out, and the head would flip from the normal head to the Power Ranger head. But I used to love playing the Power Ranger games, and like I said, even the video games, I used to love playing them on the. I think I got one for the Super Nintendo, but like I said, and the Sega Mega Drive. But I used to love playing with the Megazords. I used to play them for ages. Like I said, my mate had the original set, which I've got, and I didn't get because I used to love playing with the what was it? The Tyrannosaurus Rex, was it? Yeah, the Tyrannosaurus Rex sword, and building that into the
Megazord.
the one that used to roll first. It used to roll, didn't it? And then it used to go onto its two legs.
I remember that.
That's at
I'd
tank
never
mode.
had any of the toys, but one of my friends, literally all of them, and he would we'd go around and play with them. I remember them.
Tank mode, that was it. It was used to go into a tank mode, and then it used to go Megazord sequence, and it access initiated or something like that. That was in the series, and then it goes Megazord activated. But Power Rangers it was for me. I used to love playing with them.
Yeah, I remember he was like, I don't know if you remember, Craig, but I remember it like that Christmas. They were all sold out everywhere. It was like it was in the news, wasn't it, and everything. It's like one of those big first crazes where it was sold out everywhere over here.
I mean, that had happened sometimes. I mean, wouldn't it, with like certain toys? I mean, that's why. Was it the film Jingle All the Way, which was like the basic idea was that would happen every year, where one big toy would happen and nobody could get hold of the bloody thing.
Yeah,
now it's just consoles.
Yeah,
like I said,
that's true.
I don't know if any of you have watched the Power Rangers movie, the new one that they did.
Yeah, I've watched it, Tommy. I think Tommy's got it on DVD.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, it could have been better. Like I said, but like I said, I didn't actually mind how they were done and designed it and stuff like that. But what peed me off is like I love the design that they did for the Zords in it, but I kind of wished when it went into the Megazord, they kept it like it was in the series. It just looked nothing like how it should have been. I don't know if any of you, Chris or Mike, have seen what it looks like, but the Megazord I'm just trying to think how it looks like in the TV series. You could see on the Megazord bits of the Zords, like you could see where the Triceratops, the saber-tooth tiger, the Mastodon, and bits on that. But on this, when it was in the movie, when it went to the Megazord, you can't tell.
Awful.
That's what I mean. You just can't tell what was what. Like you can't, because you don't actually see it transforming into the Megazord. They all fall into the floor, and then it comes up out the floors of the Megazord, and like I said, but that's what I mean.
It wasn't that good.
You'd think in the movie as well, like one of the biggest bits did actually show you actually transforming into the Megazord. Like that was one.
That was one of the main points.
Main things, of the Power Rangers, and it didn't actually show you doing that at all. I was fuming when I watched that bit of it.
I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, it doesn't really.
But that's what I mean. If you look at the new Megazord from the movie, you can't tell what was the T-Rex, what was the Triceratops, the saber-tooth tiger, the Mastodon, and the pterodactyl. You just can't tell what any of them were at all.
You can probably tell by the colours. That's about it.
It kind of looks like what was that? Chris, you'll be the best one with this. What was the thing where guys stuck the Power Stone into his head and he became like
Ultraman?
No, it was a film, and they made figurines of it. It was like Guyver, that's the one. It looks so much like Guyver.
It does actually kind of the new one. Yeah, it does like a bit like that. But yeah, I wasn't happy with the new Megazord that they did for the movie. But apparently they're going to be doing another one, ain't they?
Oh, I don't know.
What I've heard. But yeah, Power Rangers was my toys for the last one.
Okay, well, my final one is going to be another more of an obscure one, but it's one I absolutely loved, which was Centurions. So this was a Kenner toy line, late 80s. So it was based on a Ruby Spears cartoon, which aired in 1986. Now this was aired. So they aired like a six, like the Turtles. They aired the mini series before to gain. To gain like interest in the toy line, and it follows the adventures of three heroes, each with their own specialist skills. So there was Ace McCloud, who was an aerial specialist. See what they did there, McCloud. And then they had Max Ray, an underwater specialist, and Jake Rockwell, a ground specialist. I don't know about you, but I'm sensing a theme here when it comes to the names. But like most things, now they took on the Evil Dog Terror and his sidekick Hacker. So the unique selling point of these figures were that if you remember them, but there was 3 like main characters, and they all had sockets over the bodies, which allowed you to add accessories. So each character came with like a basic set, and then you get like a toy, there'd be like an additional set. So you have a smaller set for like so much. It's like say £7, £10. You get like one of the bigger, like more.
So these are to blame for DLC. That's
pretty much. Yeah.
It was like DLC for figures.
Yeah, the original DLC.
Yeah. And so what you could do is you could just keep adding on. So you'd have the basic set, then you can get like. Now I had the 3 main figures, but only had 1, maybe 2. I think now was probably had 2. So I only had Ace McCloud's like just basic set, but I had Max Ray, and I love Max Ray because he looked like my 2 heroes growing up. He looked like Tom Selleck from Magnum and my dad. And so he becomes a water specialist, and he had like a
green one.
Yeah, a green one. So it was called Idle Blast, which had a huge like thruster backpack, with 2 firing rockets and like a harpoon gun on the arm. But I'm pretty sure it was either that or one called Depth Charge. Now I'm second guessing myself, which is more like a little like sub, so like a little like capsule that went over him. But I think I had another one of Jake Rockwell's, which was more like it was more like a big turret gun that he turned into. But the best one, and one I always wanted, was called what was it called? Wild Weasel, and it basically just turned him into a motorcycle with like big huge guns on. If you remember Terminator Salvation, remember those Terminator bikes? It was like one of those. Yes. But so it was that. It was so like unique for the time that you could just add like little like bits onto them.
Yeah, it's quite cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like again, you can find all the episodes on YouTube if you want to watch the cartoon, which I always love.
That's cool.
But yeah, Centurions. I don't know if any of you guys remember it either.
I think I remember a friend having some of these. I never had any myself.
Yeah, I don't really remember the toys. I remember the cartoon.
Yeah.
How big were they? Just out of interest, the figures.
They were quite big. So I think it's about 5-6 inches.
Yeah, I thought they might have been.
Yeah. I just remember being down south, and my dad was working down there, like doing some work with me. I had a friend of my auntie's, and took us to this shop in I think it was like somewhere in around Maidstone area. And just remember he picked, he got paid, and he said, "Right, I'll get you a toy." And he got me I think it was either Tidal Wave or Depth Charge. And I just absolutely love playing with it in the bath.
I just love that you did that then, and straight to me, like I just giggled because you were like, I was like, Ian thinks 5 to 6 inches is big. but like moving on from that just popped into my head, and I was like, don't say it. I've got to fucking say it.
You had to fucking say it.
Yes.
So, I was just looking at like toys that came with it as well, and I was like, shit, I just remembered this. There was like Centurions 3D Viewmaster. Now, do you remember these? Kinds. But these were like a circle thing, and they had little photographs, and you'd put them in the Viewmaster from the top, and you got loads of cards, and you'd point them up to the light and click a button, and it'd show you the next image.
Yeah, I remember those. I had loads of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were amazing. Them. What else was I going to say? I did have another. I'll just say a quick one before we go. I did have a quick honorable mention, which was Starcom. Which were like these little like spaceships with like 1.5 inch figures, but they were modular, so you could like so you had like a one big ship, and all like the little play sets could fold into it, and you could put them inside, and it was really quite good. It's like it was
and little bits on them moved and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, it was designed in conjunction with NASA, so NASA helped like in the design. It was really good. That's like a little quick mention from me before we go.
Before we go as well, quickly, I was going to say, what was your favourite toilet game when you were a kid? When you played in the toilet? Having your dump.
A vision, of you just playing with your poo in the toilet.
No, I'm not that bad.
I think we used to stand up and cut it in half when we pee. That's about it.
No, I used to play that water ring toss game, you know, where you have to press the button on the fingers. And play that when I was on the toilet.
I think for me it was just playing on the Game Boy.
No, same as Craig. I had the water ring toss, but I thought you were just asking what do we do on the toilet, and that my answer was
I was wondering.
I used to stand up and try and cut.
I was meaning toys, not like.
I was too sort of like of a hyperactive, so I just want to get in there, poop, and then get out again. I didn't want to like sit there for very long.
Oh God, no.
No, I was like an Olympic pooper. I'd just like run in, fire into the toilet, and run out again without even fucking wiping.
Well, I hate to say it, but that was a bit of a shitty ending. And on that note, we will leave you for this week, and we'll be back next week when we'll be discussing our dream TV and movie adaptations.
Yes.
Yay.
I look forward to it. Right, have a nice week, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening as well.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yes.
Right, I'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay, Beastman, I will read the thing. Thank you for listening to the Geeky Dads podcast this week. You can find us on Twitter at the Geeky Dads Pod, Instagram at the Geeky Dads Podcast, Facebook.com/the Geeky Dads Podcast, and even now on YouTube, the Geeky Dads Podcast. What the fuck? We're on everything now. You can even listen and subscribe on Anchor FM, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and even Stitcher. Leave that alone, Beastman! You infernal boob!